Oh, hey, what's happening there, YouTube? It's Brian House here for Housework, and today we are going to be testing out the cheapest 2 horsepower 3-phase motor I could find on Amazon. But before I do that, I actually want to talk a little bit about a question that I get really often, like almost every single day. I get either an email or a comment from somebody that says that they have an old treadmill, they would like to try and make the motor and the motor controller from said treadmill function as a grinder motor and a VFD. And a lot of you know that back a ways, about a year ago, I actually did that experiment. It was my first grinder. I built it. It was a very rudimentary design, and design I kind of copied from Dan over at DC Knives, made my own improvements and changes that I thought were useful. And I put a DC motor on it from a treadmill. I even built an SCR motor controller for it and used it for a couple of months, and it was fantastic until it wasn't. About 2 months in, the motor started to fail. I had a lot of issues with it. It wasn't reliable. I blew out a brush. There was all kinds of things that were going wrong with it, and it could have had something to do with the fact that the motor was older, had a lot of hours on it, that kind of stuff. However, I will say very few people have had good luck with using DC motors reliably for a long time in this application, and it's because DC motors are magnetized on the inside. It's how it turns the spindle on the inside, and you're grinding metal most likely, so that metal dust is in the air all around that motor, and unless you're filtering the air with these elaborate setups that I've seen built, and in fact, if you want to see a couple of them, a buddy of mine on Instagram, his name is Mike LaValle, go out and check out his Instagram page. He's got a couple of grinders that he's managed to make run with DC motors for a long time. He's one of the examples that I like to give to people who want to do this. For what it's worth, if it were me, and it is me, I feel like the reliability factor is important to me. I feel like the 2x72 belt grinder is such an important tool for every workshop that I just didn't want to mess around with trying to figure out how to make a DC motor work and filter the air and mounting it and all of those things. So I made the switch. I went over to AC, and a lot of people argue with me about that, and they didn't, they think that it's not the right way to go and all this stuff because it's expensive. And I get it. It can be expensive. But I spent the last 6 months trying to figure out, okay, if I promote this grinder build, and I think it's a great build, but the powertrain is expensive, why not try to knock the powertrain costs down? And when I say powertrain, I mean VFD and motor combination and the wiring and so on. So the first build I did was with the Iron Horse 2-horsepower motor from Automation Direct. That's a motor that's become very popular because I've promoted it, and Dan over at DC Knives has promoted it as well. So it sells out a lot. And with the pandemic and everything going on right now, there's supply chain issues from China and all that stuff. So I scoured the internet, Amazon primarily, because shipping these motors can be expensive. And I found something on Amazon that I think is really promising. So it's there's a few requirements, by the way. If you decide you want to go into an AC motor setup, you really need, there's a bunch of requirements, and I'm going to list those requirements out right now for you. The first and foremost, it has to be a NEMA 56C face mount, and in my particular build, that's the bolt hole configuration and how the shaft comes through the actual motor. For the Revolution, that's a requirement because it's a face-mounted motor. Now, people have modified the grinders to be bottom mount, and you can use any motor at that point. But that's the first requirement. It also has to be TEFC, so that stands for totally enclosed fan cooled. So TEFC, totally enclosed fan cooled. And what that means is there's a fan on the outside of the outside of the motor itself, spinning and cooling the motor from the outside. There isn't air being pulled in from the outside and in through the motor, because if we did that, again, we'd run into that same problem where you've got metal dust entering in a space where there's brushes and magnets and things where it'll get caught up and it'll ruin the motor essentially. So That's the second requirement. Also, I like 2 horses, okay? So the rule of thumb with any grinder, in my opinion, this is optimal now, is there should be 1 horsepower for every inch of width on the belt. So if it's a 2 by 72, it means it's 2 inches wide, and you need 2 horses to drive it. Can you get away with 1.5 horses? Yes, you can. Can you get away with 3 horses? Most definitely. So, but optimal for me is a 2 horsepower motor. Also, it should be powered by 220, and it should be 3-phase. I like 220 power, and this is another conversation I have all the time with people. They're like, well, I want to build your grinder, but I don't have 220, or I don't have 3-phase, or I don't have both. And I, at some point, might do a video where I walk you all through how easy it is to install a 220 outlet in your workshop or garage. But you don't need to see me do it. I mean, there's 100 million videos out there that'll just show you the process and how simple it is. The reason why I like 3-phase is because a 3-phase motor can reliably be modified for speed changes. So when we plug in our VFD to our motor, the VFD is taking single-phase 220 power, and it's converting it over to 3-phase power to give you the ability to speed up or slow down a motor. And VFD stands for variable frequency drive. That's really all it's doing, is it's changing the frequency so that that motor can speed up or slow down. Super important in my opinion, and you'll see exactly how inexpensive we're able to do this. 2 horsepower motor, 220, 3-phase, and variable speed. These, in my opinion, are by far the way when you go to build a grinder, this is how you should do it. If you're looking for a motor powertrain combination, this is how inexpensive it can be. So I'm not even going to show you how to wire it up because I've got other videos that show how to do that. But the VFD is that cheaper one that I've been showing off in some of my videos. It's sub $100. I think I paid $96 out the door. And then the motor that I found on Amazon is $125. And then you're going to probably have about, let's say, $25 or $30 in on wiring. So now you're at $250 for a 2 horsepower variable speed motor that will probably last you a long time. It might last the life of the tool. And in my opinion, for $250, you can get a really reliable tool that will function the way you want it, and it'll actually perform the way you want it. In my head, I think you're going to spend all this time building this piece of equipment. It's sturdy, it's stout, it's doing its thing, and then you're gonna, put an underpowered, non-reliable motor in it that may or may not function for the long term. You spend all this time and energy doing it. You should do it right all the way through. People love to argue with me about single phase versus 3-phase and DC versus AC. And I've built so many of these grinders now, and I've designed this one, and I've sold it thousands of times over. I know enough to say to you, like, hey, if it were me, I wouldn't go that route. So anyhow, the motor I found on Amazon, $125, right? That motor is a little bit longer than the motor that I previously recommended, the Iron Horse 2 horsepower motor. So in order to kind of get around the issues with clearance of the swing, I have now changed the revision of 7 of the plan set that's available on the website. I've changed the pillars to be variable in size, meaning if you're using the Iron Horse, you can get away with 9 inches. If you're going to go with a little bit bigger motor like this one here, you can raise it up to 10.5 inches. Somebody up in Canada just made one, did 11 inches. Because his motor is actually 12 inches long from the face to the back end of the shroud where the back end of the fan is. So, all these things play a role in the balance of the machine and how it operates. So, you just want to take in consideration if you're raising up the motor, it's going to slightly raise up the platen. Just, those are things to consider. So my take on it is if you go 10 inches, you have a lot of flexibility with the types of motors that you're able to put on the Revolution. you'd be surprised at what's out there. Now this $125 2 horsepower motor from Amazon, by the way, that's shipped to your house. It just shows up, you know, 125 bucks, Amazon Prime out of California. It's an air compressor motor, but it's a clockwise, counterclockwise. It meets all of my criteria, TEFC, 220, 3-phase, 2 horsepower. It meets all those criteria, and it's $45 cheaper than the Iron Horse motor. Now, there are some quality differences between this motor and the Iron Horse. I will say, I can definitely see the quality differences, and I'm not a huge fan of lower quality stuff. I'd rather buy the better stuff, but you know, the conversations I've been having with a lot of people about powertrain cost, I started to think like, well, if you can't really get the Automation Direct one, you can't get the Iron Horse from Automation Direct because it's out of stock, why wouldn't we explore another option? And I wouldn't even care if it was the same price, but this one's $45 cheaper, which is pretty amazing. So I wired it up and I tested it, and it performs just like the Iron Horse. It's fast, it's quiet, it does all those things. It's just in the fit and finish really of the motor. Like the fan inside of the shroud was a little bit cockeyed, so I had to kind of like bend it and warm it up and bend it so it didn't hit the shroud, stuff like that. Nothing that caused any problems with the functionality. It's just, you can really tell the difference in quality of the aluminum, the steel shroud, and things like that. It's not the same quality as the Iron Horse. So that's something to consider when you're purchasing this. And the fact that if you've already built your grinder and you've got 9-inch risers, you're going to need to modify the risers slightly to accommodate for the extra length in order to make it swing properly. So we wired it up, we tested it, it functions and operates just the way I want it to. I will create a link down below to purchase this motor. Hopefully there's still some available. You know, with the supply chain issues with the pandemic, it's been kind of rough trying to find stuff. But there will be a link down below that will take you to this particular motor so you can try to buy one yourself. And also, guys, you know, feel free to reach out to me. You know, there's a lot of people who do that on a regular basis. The one thing, though, you know, if I give you a piece of advice and you know you don't think you want to take it or whatever, I just feel like I'm doing my best for you. I feel like I work for you guys. You know, you contact me and you want to you know, advice and help, and you support me through buying through my website and all of that, and watching my videos and commenting and liking and all those things. I feel obligated to you to give you the best information possible. And I spend a lot of time working on this stuff every single day, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, thinking about, okay, you know, we're building a tool, and that tool has to do certain functions and perform a certain way. And I cannot endorse DC powered motors for these things, because I don't feel like it's a long-lasting solution. I feel like eventually everybody will get annoyed with it, and you know, they'll end up buying an AC motor anyway. And you know, my theory on all that stuff is buy once and cry once, and then you got a tool that'll last you 20 years, and it'll be in your family for a long time. So, well, hey, listen, guys, if you got something out of today's video, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button. And if you click that little bell, you get a notification every time I upload something to YouTube. Now, there's many ways to support my channel, and most of you already know you can go to housemade.us and you can buy the plans for the Revolution. We have bundles and parts and kits and all of that stuff, and stickers. You can support the work that I do. There's also Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee. All of those work, and I truly appreciate you guys doing that, and it keeps me going. It helps me buy the tools and the supplies that I need to run these experiments and make these videos happen for you. So I hope to see you guys on the next video, and I hope you're all doing really well. My name is Brian House, and this has been Housework.